Imagine if you lost 20, 30, 40, or even 50 pounds or more right away. Would you be more attractive to the opposite sex? Feel better? Sleep better? If you've tried to lose weight in the past and repeatedly failed, then you need to know about a true game-changer medication. Semaglutide is FDA approved. It can produce quick and easy results. Call the number on your screen now for free info. This is the last diet you'll ever go on. Finally lose the weight and keep it off. There's no pain, no surgery, no exercise plan, no starvation, no fasting, no silly meal prep. In fact, you can continue to eat the foods you love. Pause this screen and take down this number or store it in your cell phone. But call today for free information. The Advanced Medical Weight Loss Program is physician-based and works with your body naturally to create the feeling of being full. This is not just about losing weight. This is about what your life can become as a thinner you. Call the number on your screen now for free info. Finally lose the weight and keep it off. Look great this summer, but hurry. There's a huge demand for this product and shortages may occur at any time. Call the number on your screen now for free information.
Welcome to the Turnpike Sports Spotlight. Dave Weishottle with you. What fascinates me about the gaming industry is the innovation that occurs in this business. When you're talking about innovation, certainly one company comes to my mind, and that is Soft2Bet. They are the leading iGaming turnkey solutions provider for online gambling operators. They have been doing incredible work in the gaming industry for years. And you're going to hear all about them because on the line we have Martin Collins, who is the Chief Business Development Officer at Soft2Bet. Martin, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Dave, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
For people who work in the industry, we have certainly heard of Soft2Bet and all the good work you do for the gaming industry. But for people who are listening right now who are not part of the gaming industry, what is Soft2Bet and what function does it serve for the gaming industry, not just in this country, in the U.S., but worldwide?
I think the best way to answer that, Dave, is probably to take a look back at the history of the business. Mm-hmm. So in a month from now, we'll be 8 years old. We'll be a toddler in human terms. And if we go back 8 years ago, Soft2Bet started as a B2C business. And what we quickly realized, as most B2C businesses do, is that to be relying upon a third party, if you want to be innovative, really restricts your ability to grow. It can become a bottleneck, and it can really restrict your ability to be successful. Mm-hmm. So a year into that venture, we started building our own platform, of which we're now on our third iteration of. And we took full control from a B2C perspective. And after 4 years, started selling our solution from a B2B perspective. And really drove that proof of concept from the B2C side in order to be able to deliver value for our B2B customers. What a lot of operators might say is that they don't want to compete against their platform provider or even any third-party provider. But what I would argue and what we've really built within our sort of key strategic point is that if you go to any operator that utilizes a third party and asks them, what is the key issue behind the relationship that you have with your third party, it's often because they don't understand things from a B2C perspective. And we understood that from the beginning, given that we were a B2C. So we harnessed the B2C knowledge that we have, and we really tried to utilize that to drive value across our entire product portfolio into the B2B offerings that we have.
Now, as you said, Soft2Bet is celebrating its 8th anniversary, and over the years you have done incredible things for the gaming industry and really made some great partnerships and won some very prestigious awards. Now, this is a tough business. A lot of companies in this business fold up and disappear. What makes Soft2Bet so special in the industry? What has allowed Soft2Bet to work so good for so long in the world of gaming?
Okay, I think if you look at I've been in this industry since 2006. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the front ends and the UI, UX, the experience that we as an industry offer to our customers, it hasn't changed much in that period. If you go to a sportsbook or a casino from 20 years ago, there's very minor changes in comparison to what it is now. And what we realised is that really and truly the experiences that we were offering to our customers weren't keeping up with other industries. So if you look at casual gaming, social, e-commerce, even computer games, what we were offering to our customers was way behind what was being offered in these industries. And we realized that if you improve the UI UX and you take mechanics from these industries, then you can actually drive innovation within our industry. Now, it's not necessarily direct innovation coming directly from us. Of course, we're utilizing ideas from other industries, but it's really like materially impacting the KPIs of any of our B2C or B2B brands. We can see uplift quickly when we introduce these mechanics, and that's really where the longevities came from, Dave. It's really, we're one of the few operators and B2B firms within the industry that's driving this type of innovation. And we actually don't consider our competition within the industry anymore, because we're competing for screen time with the likes of TikTok and Netflix and Snapchat.
Wow,
that's what we see as our competition now.
Now, I got to ask you, Soft2Bet does work all around the world, and in places like Europe have a longer history with sports betting and iGaming, while here in the United States and also Canada, we're just starting to catch up with what's happening around the world. What do you see as the major differences between Europe and the U.S. when it comes to sports betting and iGaming? What can Canada and U.S. learn from the gaming industry in Europe?
I think the first thing that you could probably think about, and I already see changes in this regard, but it's certainly a little bit further behind, would be with regards to responsible gaming.
Okay.
Even if you go back to pre-regulated Europe, as soon as regulated started coming in, the driving a more sustainable experience for the customer was very much at the forefront of the majority of operators. If you look at large brands in Europe like bwin and Bet365, they're looking at the recreational customer opposed to the individual that might spend a lot of cash. So the approach to the customer is very, very different in terms of how they're actually engaging with them and getting them to spend their cash on a day-to-day basis, and how they're engaging with the brand. Now, as I said, in the US, I'm starting to see movement towards this, but it's certainly not at the same level as the more established European regulated markets. Sure. So that's one thing. The second thing as well is that, the US really had an opportunity, given, like you said, that it only really launched properly in 2018 with the PASPA repeal. And they had a real opportunity to differentiate and be an entirely different market. And I think you're seeing people starting to regret that now, because they went to third parties again. And now the majority of market leaders in each of the states are utilizing their own technology and really trying to redefine the product and what they stand for. So that differentiation is key as well. If you look at Europe, every market leader has some sort of differential that really sets them apart from everybody else within the market. And again, I think the US was a little bit behind that, although taking steps to rectify that now.
On the show, we've had industry policymakers, we've had politicians and CEOs of companies, and without fail, they have all felt that one of the biggest issues in the gaming industry today is online casinos. I mean, I'm sitting here in New Jersey. We've had online casinos for over 10 years now, so I'm waiting for everyone else to catch up to Jersey. What is the state of online casino market here in the U.S.? I mean, as a person who works in the industry, do you feel that this is the next big sector that will be expanding in the near future? Do you feel that more and more states will legalize online casinos?
So it's an interesting question, Dave. It's something that's been at the precipice for a long time, and a lot of people expected the rollout to be a lot faster than it has been. So for me, as an industry, we need to do better in order to encourage the rollout of casino in additional states. You can see the tax revenue in the states where it's already live, particularly the big three, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Michigan. You can see the tax revenue that it generates for those states. But what seems to be happening, from my perspective, within the other states, is that there seems to be generally from a lottery perspective, or there seems to be a feeling from the state lotteries that this could cannibalise their business. And unfortunately, as an industry, we're not really dealing with this objection very well, because we seem to be lobbying in isolation. So rather than lobbying as an industry and sitting down with the lotteries and helping them understand exactly how a lottery player is very different to a casino player, we are sitting in isolation and trying to serve our own needs. Now, the ultimate need of everybody is for this to accelerate and for more states to open up for casino. So my idea is that we should come together as an industry and we should start lobbying together. Mm-hmm. And that way we're all on the same page and we can help educate these older institutions to how online works and how it's very, very different to what they're actually offering. If we did that, then I think we could see a quicker acceleration.
That is one of the things that has confused me a lot. I mean, I ask this question to a lot of people who come on the show, and I'm just trying to figure out what has been the major issue for states with regard to online casinos. I mean, when it comes to sports betting, a lot of states seem very eager and willing to allow sports betting within their borders, but there has been some hesitation and some outright rejection of online casinos. What has been the main issue, you think, with lawmakers when it comes to online casinos, and what are some of the challenges that you think that online casino market is facing, especially here in the U.S.?
I suppose it's viewed as a harder type of gambling, first of all. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're a slots or a table gambler, then it's probably viewed a little bit differently socially in terms of sports betting. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing. And obviously some states have a little bit more of a less liberal viewpoint in terms of this type of gambling, I would say. That's the first thing. But I go back to my original point that ultimately you can see that if online casino, iCasino is live in your state, then there's a material increase in tax revenue.
Absolutely.
So and the majority of states have a deficit at the moment, as we all know. So there's something in between those 2 points stopping this happening. And I think it's down to the fact that they think the revenue will be cannibalized and won't actually be revenue on top of what already exists. In order to alleviate that, we need to educate the current institutions so that they understand this is an entirely different revenue stream from what already exists.
Since we mentioned sports betting, a majority of states have allowed online sports betting and many are allowing online lottery. Do these create a roadmap of how states can implement iGaming and online casinos within their borders? Does the fact that a majority of Americans are gambling online now, in your opinion, does that give lawmakers an idea and any confidence that online casinos and iGaming could work in a responsible manner in their states and in their jurisdiction? I mean, does it ease their fears that states can have a proper regulations and safeguard to allow online casinos and iGaming like they have for sports betting?
So I would say that you mentioned online sports bet and then you mentioned online lottery. Mm-hmm. So what I would say is that if you bring an iCasino in with these other two verticals, there is some crossover, but generally the audiences are very, very different. So somebody who plays slots won't generally make a sports bet on a regular basis. Somebody who plays lottery won't necessarily play a slot machine. But again, there is crossover, no question, but the audience can be very, very different. Now, in answer to your question in terms of whether we can roll this out in a responsible manner, I wouldn't necessarily compare it to sports betting and the lottery. What I would look to is the actual land-based retail casinos that exist in the majority of states. Now, these guys can exist and coexist with other types of betting in a responsible manner. So my retort to not being able to roll it out is that ultimately online is there for a different generation, a different audience who are seeking a different experience from what their parents and their grandparents look for. Now, if we can do it in a retail way or a retail method in a responsible manner, I don't understand why we can't do it from an online perspective in a responsible manner. I just think it's the same solution, but for a different audience and a different generation.
Now, what has astounded me about iGaming, and you certainly know all about this, is the technology that has developed in the industry, whether you're talking about AI products or customization. The developments that have occurred in this industry have been amazing. Where do you see the technology going in iGaming and sports betting in the near future?
So it's an interesting question, and I'll go back to the point that I made about looking for innovation in other industries. So if you look at the levels of engagement within casual gaming and social and e-commerce, this is where I see advancements from a technology perspective within iGaming. The example that I give is that, a 25-year-old grew up with a mobile phone in their hand. As a 44-year-old man, I never grew up with a mobile in my hand. So I'm not mobile native, and he is. And his expectations or her expectations of the experience that they're going to get from anything on their mobile phone is very different to mine. So therefore, as mass market offerings, we need to be able to offer these. And that means, again, looking at engagement, looking at personalization. Netflix is a perfect example. Mm-hmm. If you use your Netflix the way it should be used, then you should be getting recommendations when they bring out new shows, old things come back to market, etc. We should be able to do that from both a casino and a sports betting perspective. We should be able to personalise the experience with the customer touch points and data points that we have in order to make the experience more relevant. That's where I see the industry going, Dave. That's going to be the piece de la resistance for the entire industry to be able to deliver this just as well as other industries do.
Speaking of technology, Soft2Bet recently launched a product called Mega, which is short for Motivational Engineering Gaming Application. What is that product, and what do you believe that Mega can do for the gaming industry?
Okay, so Mega is really the epitome of what I've been discussing in terms of pulling mechanics from other industries. What we realised is that the engagement, and as a consequence of the UI UX that existed within sports betting and iCasino, resulted in a poor experience for the customer, and therefore what we saw was very, very poor screen time. So on average, you would have seen a screen time maybe of somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes if you were performing well.
Sure.
Whereas these other industries are way over an hour, maybe even up to 2 hours in some cases with things like TikTok, etc. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to build, again, a more sustainable model for the customer to spend their cash, right? So they weren't just coming in, dropping money and losing it quickly in succession. We wanted to create something fun, and we wanted to create something engaging. So what we did is we gamified the experience.
Wow.
So let's say, for example, that you're in a casino and you spin. Okay, so and you're spinning and you spend $10.
Sure.
Then whilst you've been spinning, those $10 will actually contribute to coins, and then you can use those coins within the gamified experience. Now, the gamified experience can be anything. We have 21 different engines. One of them is an empire builder. One of them is a war simulator. One of them is like a Monopoly game. So you have different gamification for different audiences. And what happens is the customer goes through, and whilst they're playing the gamified experience, as they achieve things within the game, they actually get prizes back within the casino itself. So they might get free spins, they might get bonus money, they might get free cash, depending on what they've achieved. So it creates this cycle whereby you play the casino, you play the gamified experience, and it keeps on moving through. And ultimately, the customer spends their money in a much longer period of time, engages with the brand more, and resonates with the brand more because they're actually achieving things and they're being successful on some elements, even if they're not winning on the gambling side. So this is what we tried to draw from other industries. And really implement it within the gambling experience in order to first of all provide something to the new generation coming through that resonates with them, but also to provide something more sustainable for the more traditional gambler and the older audience within our customer base. And you can see if you look at the key metrics, like I said, screen time has definitely gone up by 4 or 5 times.
Wow. Okay.
But then you can also see an increase in ARPU and GGR, and all your key metrics. You see a massive increase, and particularly for the US, Dave, this is really, really important, because what we've also seen is that we can materially reduce the number of bonus and promotions that we need to offer.
Mm-hmm.
So everything in the US at the moment, I always tell this story. So I'm going from New York to New Jersey, and I'm coming through the Turnpike. And as you're coming around that corner, there's a big FanDuel sign, and it says deposit $5 and we'll give you $150 free cash.
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine the cost of that promotion.
Yeah.
It's incredible, right? Now, imagine you don't need to give that. Then that goes straight to your bottom line because your engagement's increased through this sort of gamification. So we're not only saying that we're increasing your engagement, increasing your brand equity, what we're also saying is we're adding straight to your bottom line, because you don't need to spend as much in order to retain your customers as well.
I talk to a lot of iGaming and sports betting operators, and they have always said, certainly one of the challenges is getting customers, but a bigger challenge is retaining the customers and making sure they're engaged with your product. Because anyone who talks to a gaming platform or operator, that's one of their goals, and that's one of their challenges in order to sustain a profitable business. What has been the reaction from the operators about Mega? Because it sounds like a gift from heaven for operators.
The one thing that I've heard from everybody is they talk about a race to the bottom, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're competing for retention on the basis of promotions and bonusing, your customer never actually has any engagement with your brand, because all they're looking at you is a sugar daddy that's going to give you promotional money every time you want it.
Yeah.
So if you engage the customer, it's like any partnership, right? Like any relationship. If you are maintaining that relationship on a material basis, then eventually it will break and it will no longer exist. However, if you build a long-term engagement, on the basis of the actual relationship and the engagement that you've built between the two parties, then it becomes much more long-term, much more sustainable, and better for both parties, in all honesty.
Now, I saw that you did some workshops for people to get acquainted with your Mega product. Do you plan on doing more of those workshops in the near future? Because I think it really addresses something that all gaming providers feel as a challenge, and that is really getting their customer engaged with their product.
Yep. So in Amsterdam, at IGB, we did 2 workshops, one on either day, the Wednesday and the Thursday. And we got a lot of engagement. We had a lot of people who were very, very interested in the concept and what we were trying to deliver here, which has led to a lot of conversations post-show. We'll do the same in Lisbon at SBC, and also the same again at G2E in Vegas in October. So yes, we will continue to do the workshops. So anybody who's interested is welcome to come along and ask as many questions as you can, because we're open to showing how this can really materially positively impact your business.
Now, another great thing that you're doing for the gaming community is that you recently launched the Soft2Bet Invest iGaming Innovation Fund. What is that, and how can people get involved with that?
Okay, so Soft2Bet Invest is a fund of 50 million euros. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to give something back to the industry and help with the innovation that we were talking about before, Dave. Mm-hmm. So we see consolidation as a bit of a cycle. And for the last sort of 18 months, and I'm sure for the next year as well, we'll continue in a period of consolidation. But what we believe is that when there's a period of consolidation, it actually positively impacts innovation as well, because the individuals that have built and sold these businesses are back out in the market and building new ideas and bringing new concepts to the industry. So we see a massive opportunity here in order to be able to help these businesses, not just from a cash perspective. So yes, we will invest cash, but we can also help from a synergy perspective as well. We have the whole ecosystem of Soft2Bet that we can potentially integrate them with and really help them be battle tested from a tier 1 operator and even from tier 1 B2B perspective as well. So we are investing the cash, absolutely, but we're also bringing battle testing to the table for these individuals so that they can understand the pros and cons of their product and continue to improve upon them. So that's the idea, Dave.
So if you're a startup in the gaming industry and you think you want to get involved with the Soft2Bet Innovation Fund, how do they go about that, and what kind of information do they have to send to Soft2Bet to get them considered for that?
So if you go to the Soft2Bet website, there is a Soft2Bet Invest tab, and there is a flow there that will ask you all of the questions, all of the information. You'll be able to fill out the majority of the information, but what we would also like is a sort of business plan. So we want to understand what you expect from the business in the next couple of years so that we can see the sort of viability of your business from your perspective. Now, don't get me wrong, in some cases, we've met with very innovative people who perhaps don't have the business acumen to their bow. We're also happy to speak to these guys as well and look at their products and maybe help them from the business perspective as well. So you'll find it all on the website on soft2bet.com. Go to the Soft2Bet Invest tab, and you'll be able to apply there.
So where do you see the iGaming industry headed in the future? Do you think online casinos will be in more states in 2025? Do you see more innovation in the sports betting industry with more AI products and customization for their customers? Where do you see the iGaming and sports betting industries headed in the future? And what do you think will be the next big trend for this industry?
Okay, so lots of questions there, Dave. If I miss anything, remind me.
I'm just throwing everything at you right now. So
the thing is that in 2025, I'm hoping that some states will do the necessary legal elements in order to be able to legalize iCasino within their states. I can't see any iCasino states going live in 25. It's more likely to be 26 if these steps are taken within the Senate and the Congress, right? So it really depends upon their approach and obviously governors getting on side, etc. So, but it won't be 26 before any of them would go live in any case because there's nothing really in the pipe from what I can see at the moment. So that's the first thing. So I think, we're probably a little bit behind. Well, we're very behind. But as I said, we need to do a bit of work on that. From the innovation perspective, Dave, like I said, I think that what we're going to see is we're going to see personalization become a real big factor within the industry. As our audience changes and the younger generation get older and have more disposable income, their expectations from any mobile or online interaction is very different to what we would have expected, as I indicated. So if we can't deliver those experiences, they will go elsewhere. And you can see this with like free-to-play apps. You can see it even with sweepstakes in some regards. So it's really important as an industry that we offer something that's compelling and relevant to this aging audience that is going to be the core part of our audience for the coming years. I think that's really, really important. The industry as a whole, like I said, I think there's still consolidation. I think you'll see a lot of consolidation in the next sort of 12 months or so. I think you'll see big companies, buying small companies, mergers. I think you'll see a lot of this. But what I think you'll see at the end of that is the sort of second wave coming into the US, hopefully driven by casino, because I think that's the key factor. If the legislature takes the steps in order to do that, I think you can see a second wave coming in, and there being more challenges to the big two, obviously FanDuel, DraftKings, but obviously your MGM and your Caesars as well.
How about the near future for Soft2Bet? What can people expect from Soft2Bet in the coming months and in the coming years? Is there anything you're working on that everyone should be on the lookout for in the near future from Soft2Bet?
Continue to see new engines being released on Mega. So like I said, we have over 20 engines to interact with different audiences. So keep an eye out because we will launch these new engines, and if it's relevant for your audience, then you can let us know. But the most exciting news for 2025 will certainly be our B2C launch into the US. So we will be launching a brand into New Jersey.
Good.
And that should launch end of Q1, start of Q2. That's the plan. So we'll officially be an operator in the United States.
Martin, we're running out of time, but if people want to get more information on Soft2Bet, can you give out a website so people can check out all the great things that are happening with your company?
Yeah, for sure. Just go to soft2bet.com and you can get in touch with us. You can read through our case studies. You can read through all our social media posts, by all means.
Martin Collins, Chief Business Development Officer at Soft2Bet. Thank you so much for coming on and telling us all about Soft2Bet. It's an incredible company doing amazing things in the gaming industry, and I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about Soft2Bet in the future. So please come back and keep us updated about what's happening with Soft2Bet. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Dave. All the best. I'll speak to you soon.
That'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.